Fantasy football owners, it's Scott Branson with Sportsnaut.com, and here is your Week 10 Stardom and Situm. Brock Purdy's set to bounce back after the San Francisco 49ers bye week, especially with Deebo Samuel's return against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. Despite Purdy's recent slump, marked by 6 turnovers in 3 games, his earlier performance, 22 touchdowns with only 3 interceptions in his first 11 NFL games, highlights Samuel's pivotal role. Facing a Jaguars defense that ranks 6th in fantasy points conceded to quarterbacks, Purdy has a prime opportunity to regain his form. Brock Purdy, stardom. In a dominant 27-0 win, Deshaun Watson impressed with 219 yards and 2 touchdowns, his best since September. However, facing the tough Ravens defense this week with only 6 touchdowns allowed and 9 interceptions, Watson is not the top quarterback of choice for fantasy players in Week 10. It's a clear decision. It's elementary, Watson. Sit him. Running back Bijan Robinson of the Falcons has been surprising, yet with his 5 yards per carry average in upcoming game against the porous Arizona Cardinals defense could be his chance to shine. The Cardinals have allowed 100 rushing yards in most games, suggesting Robinson might finally get the workload he deserves to help push Atlanta towards playoff viability. Bijan and B. Wright, stardom. Last week, Keaton Mitchell, Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill collectively rushed for 230 yards, tempting some to consider them for Week 10 fantasy streams. However, caution be advised against this move. The Browns defense has been stingy, allowing under 600 rushing yards all season and just 2 touchdowns at an average of 4 yards per carry this season. With both Cleveland and the Ravens ranking top 3 in points allowed, a low-scoring affair is likely making it risky to rely on these rushers for high fantasy points. All of the Baltimore Ravens running backs, all of them, sit them. On to the wide receivers now. Ceedee Lamb has emerged as a standout for the Dallas Cowboys, racking up 30 receptions for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns, bouncing back from earlier frustration. Heading into Week 10 against a struggling 2-7 Giants team that allows 65% catch rate to wide receivers, Lamb is another significant performance away from fantasy stardom. CDC stardom. Geno Smith's recent form with more turnovers and touchdowns the past 4 games has impacted DK Metcalf's productivity, evident in their last game where Metcalf caught only 1 pass in a heavy loss. Despite facing the Washington Commanders defense, which has been generous to receivers, Metcalf's decreased catch rate and drop to a mid-tier flex option from last season's top 20 receiver ranking cast doubt on his matchup prospects. DK Metcalf, sit 'em. On to the tight ends. Following C.J. Stroud's explosive 470-yard, 5-touchdown game, fantasy players may rush to enlist Texans receivers like Tank Dell for Week 10. However, Dalton Schultz stands out as the top pick. The recent acquisition from Dallas snagged 10 of 11 targets for 130 yards and a touchdown in the last game. Schultz's potential is further amplified by his upcoming matchup against the Bengals, who have allowed an 81% catch rate and the 3rd most fantasy points to tight ends this season. Take the Schultz! Start him! Evan Engram faces a daunting Week 10 as the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the San Francisco 49ers, who've been formidable against tight ends, allowing the 2nd fewest fantasy points to that position this season. With only 289 yards allowed over 8 games and an average of just 4.4 yards per target, it's a strategic move to bench Engram this week for better prospects. Evan Engram, you better sit him. All right, so there you have it. Start him and sit him for Week 10. Hopefully, you're getting ready for your push to your league's playoffs. Make sure you check out everything on Sportsnaut.com, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel below, and do us a favor, share it with your friends. And anytime you need fantasy advice or you're looking for NFL action, just check out Sportsnaut.com. We'll see you next time.